Hello and welcome to Trim and Treen. This is my newest kind of project of a channel, and I started this not because I needed another channel to make content for, but because it really represents something very different than the other projects I'm working on. So I'm a biologist, and more specifically, I'm an ecologist, and I have a background in forestry. In fact, my undergraduate minor is in forestry, and I've always had interest in things made of wood, of trees, of just all facets of things that happen in the forest. I grew up in the forest of southeast Texas, so it's only kind of natural that I gravitate toward crafts and things that deal with plants and trees and things like that. So I have a channel where I talk about ecology, and a lot of that's geared toward my students and toward lessons that I try to pass on to a more general audience. The other deals with my hobbies and dealing my enjoyment of books and restoration and smoking of tobacco pipes and coffee. So about a year ago, I started doing a little bit of wood turning. I started doing a little bit more kind of small wood crafts, and I'm still very early in my journey there, but that's part of the reason why I wanted to start this channel. I wanted to document the growth. I wanted to speak to people who are trying something new, be it, it could be wood turning related, it could be craft related, it could be trying a new job, or trying to do just anything new where you're trying to build a new skill set. I am a professor by trade. I'm constantly trying to teach, which is probably one of the reasons why I feel compelled to make these channels. But I really want to show people that you can start something new. Everybody can learn, right? We're lifelong learners. It's certainly something I want to get. Certainly a theme that I want to push is that we should all be lifelong learners, and we shouldn't be afraid. I'm 48 years old. I just started this when I was 46 or 47, and I've got a long way to go. So a little bit of a background. I have always been interested in doing small crafts with wood. I grew up with a pocket knife, whittling things here and there, doing all kinds of things like that, and collecting things, particularly things that are wood grain, particularly things that are made of an interesting wood from a tree. And the interest could be in the actual species of tree itself, or the specific tree. I've have some things from my childhood where I have wood from a few trees, um, and I'm going to be making some things out of that. It also spurred from my interest in tobacco pipes and this small wooden, machine for burning tobacco, and the things that go around that, like tampers and trays and pipe stands and all of those. So I started playing around and doing some pipe restorations, which caused me to buy a small lathe that I actually used as a buffing station, and I started playing around with it as a lathe as well. Well, that was about a year and a half ago. I did take a class, which I highly recommend, because I wanted to make sure that I did the right thing from a safety standpoint. I wanted to make sure that I had all of the safety equipment. I wanted to make sure that I was approaching the lathe carefully and in a safe manner, because I have a teenage son who's watching me, and I want to always portray this safety first attitude, and with viewers, right? So, but none of my channels are really about viewers if you look at the likes, unless we went crazy over the last bit. I think or the follows, we're still under 50 on everything. So I'm not really doing this for follows or for, but I just feel like if I have knowledge, I have to get it out there. It's part of just me as a teacher, and whoever wants to listen can listen. Back to the story there. I went to a local woodworking shop. I took one of their couple-hour classes, and that's what I recommend to everyone. Make sure you get on the right foot from a safety standpoint, and just using the tools correctly. This can be anything from using, if you don't have a lot of experience using saws or using sanders or anything like that, there's a certain level of risk associated with all of that. If you're careful, you can reduce that risk to almost nothing. If you're not careful, you're certainly going. I mean, I using a drill the other day. I ended up hurting my finger. Right, those kind of things happen. Looking back, could have I been more safe? Yes. Will I do that again? Hopefully not. Right. But I took that class, and then I really learned that I needed some parts to. I needed to do some things with the lathe that the small beginner lathe just wouldn't do. I didn't have variable speed. It's still a little small for some of the things like bowl turning that I wanted to do. So I let that be a buffing station. It's still a buffing station in here. We'll do a shop tour at some point. And I bought a nice MIDI lathe. And it's doing everything I need to do right now. And again, I'm still learning. I'm still figuring out kind of what I want to do here. But it's certainly early enough to where I can bring you on my journey. Now, I was doing all of that in the garage for a while, and there is a lot of dust that's produced by woodworking, especially when you get to sanding and things like that. And as much as you do to mitigate dust, it's really hard to cut it down to nothing. It was getting all over everything in the garage, so I took a break. I took about a 3 or 4 month break from actually doing any work like that, and I built this. And it's not huge, but it's big enough to where I can keep it clean. It's really just a one-man shop. It's 8 by 12, and it's really those dimensions because they're easy dimensions to get plywood for, right? So the floor is basically 3 sheets of plywood. It's 10 foot tall. I'll go over it at some point, but it's, I wanted to double up some storage, so a lot of our Christmas stuff is out here. All of the Christmas ornaments and things are up in the top part. The tree is in there. Well, actually, it's not because it's November, or it's December, so the tree's in the house. But anyway, I've had about a 3 month break. I've turned some tampers. I've done a little bit of bowl turning. I'll be doing more, but this is what this channel is going to be, is really my journey. And where did I come up with the name, right? What does trim and treen mean? Well, I kind of stretched with trim a little bit. I think it sounds real good, right? So, but treen, I found, is small, usable wooden things. And when you say treen, the connotation is usually that it's antique or that it's older, right? So it could be wooden spoons, it could be salt boxes, it could be a number of things. A lot of things in the kitchen, but not necessarily related to the kitchen. But if you Google Treen, you'll see that it is it's for that group of things. If you go to the antique shop and there's a lot of little things made out of wood that has some practical use, that's treen. Trim, I stretched that word a little bit because when I think of trim, I think of trimming the tree. I think of just ornamentation, and that's what I'm meaning here, right? So trim are things that doesn't necessarily have a use other than the fact that they're kind of pretty, right? So Christmas ornaments, centerpieces, things that are generally just for aesthetics. That's trim. So I put those together, trim and treen. I don't know, it kind of sounds like Field and Stream, which I read as a child, right? So, but that's where that came from. And my little logo is a pecan, and there's a little bit behind that too. I grew up in the middle of a pecan orchard that was planted sometime in the mid to late 1800s. So these were pecan trees that are, you know, a good 24 inches plus, right? Probably even bigger than that. Some of them may be in the 30s diameter breast height. So they're, you know, big trees. They're my parents still live there. They're in their 70s. Those trees are starting to fall apart and die and things like that. But, you know, I came along in the 1970s when all those trees were probably around 100 years old, and they were really strong and really imposing. And I've seen probably a third of them or more start to deteriorate. And those kind of things really, you know, I have a nostalgic bent, and those kind of things, that passage of time, seeing things break down, seeing things go away, really kind of, you know, it gets me here, right? So that's another reason for making these videos. I have about a 30-second clip of my grandfather being on the news back in the early or mid 80s. That's all I have. You know, I have some pictures and things, but, you know, we can look at that and see him talk, see his mannerisms, and I guess that's another reason here. You know, I want my kids and maybe one day grandkids, and my parents watch these videos, and they're ways away. So this is a way to connect across space and across time. So, yeah, I need another channel like I need a hole in the head, but I just think this is different enough than the others, and I want to invite you along on my journey as an aspiring woodworker, as someone who, you know, who may come home and blow off a little steam by turning a tamper, or, you know, just any kind of little project. So this will be small projects. We'll do a shop tour. I'll probably go to an antique shop at some point and take some pictures and video of these small things, you know, from history that we've used. I mean, wooden spoons, all of that stuff, right? So, and we'll probably talk about trees and different types of wood. I'm coming from you right now as a novice in woodworking, but I'm a trained, you know, I have a lot of knowledge about trees themselves and about forestry. So it's, you know, it's a mixed bag. But at any rate, I just wanted this to be an intro video. Still got half a cup of coffee, but if I go too much longer, I'm gonna lose your interest. So come back, see us. I'll try to post something every couple weeks, and I look forward to sharing my journey. Hopefully in a year I'll be a much better woodworker, and if we do this for, you know, 10 years, I may be intermediate to advanced, and we'll be looking back at these old videos and laughing about how ugly some of this stuff I make is. So at any rate, I hope you have a great day. I look forward to going on this journey with you.